The new forms of media accessible to the youth of today are often chastised for corrupting the American landscape. Violent video games are almost universally panned for turning innocent children into aggressive beings hell-bent on destroying the fabric of society as we know it. Have video games not introduced the staple of aggression into the culture with which we as Americans thrive? Of course they have. And though historical, scientific, and psychological evidence betrays that claim, the humble message and true spirit of America will tell the truth. The first instances of American aggression toward others did not begin until the introduction of the video game, after all. Before the interactivity of blinking screens and joypads, the American landscape was essentially without corruption. Our interactions throughout history were cordial, lacking the controversy or bloodshed that absolutely pepper our identity today. We approached diplomatic relations with a cordial and outstretched hand. Aggression played little to no part in the founding of this nation, or the pleasant transition into the contemporary age, avoiding potentially violent encounters regarding colonialism, race, gender, and rights. Before the computer age, the American populace was able to resolve differences amongst the heterogeneous landscape in a very peaceful way. The family unit was not altered, and the posterity of life in the United States of America soldiered forward undivided. The video game is also cited as the turning point for ruining international affairs as well. As we all know, our great forefather Theodore Roosevelt maintained positive relations with all of South and Central America while concurrently occupying the land. No one wanted our presence to dissipate, and the threat of America's iron fist was not used at all. Everyone knows this. Furthermore, aggression before the video game was not present in the American culture to advance a cause. The Vietnam conflict had nothing to do with oil, the strength of the dollar, or aggression. In a docile manner, we were able to stop the spread of communism, liberate an entire subsection of people, and spread the love and tender graces of the American way to an entire area that would otherwise burn. God bless Richard Nixon and Robert McNamara for solving the conflict in a natural and unassuming manner. The scope of American entertainment before the video game favored intelligence over brute force as well. The most widely admired figures of the time had high IQs and even higher amounts of character, all without an ounce of violence or aggression. The artful sport of pro wrestling played out in a battle of wit and smarts, and boxing held the population on the edge of its seat in cunning bursts of swiftness and brilliance. These modern heroes single-handedly brought back the elegant sports of antiquity in fine style and class. But what could be more American than football? Football has been a lovely and meritorious sport for the people of the United States. Our venerated sport holds the virtues of strategy, quick thinking, and strength to high avail. And like our other worshipped athletes, these fine people have spotless reputations that validate the sport as timeless and respectable. The very tenets of American pride, goodness, and determination lives in the fabric of colored jerseys and the hearts of those who uphold the honor of the game. The video game cannot say the same at all. These Herculean role models serve to inspire greatness and prosperity in the youth of America, yet were silenced by the cool hum of televisions and consoles. Science too betrays the video game. Dr. Paul Adachi suggests that video games do cause an increased sense of aggression in the minds of children. His doctrine stops being logical at that point, as he points to similar tendencies found in children who participate in sports and other such wonderful events. While science backs up his assertion, it cannot be rational. America's children did not have problems before the video game. Sports have never been demonstrative to cause problems with its participants in terms of anger or aggression. Richard Ryan of Oxford also champions arguments with glaring holes and unforgivable flaws. But they must be wrong, because the video game is entirely meritless, and that isn't hard to see whatsoever. We must, therefore, analyze the atrocities which the video game has brought to us. It glaringly depicts unrealistic events and ludicrous festivals of blood and depravity. A movie combines visual and auditory stimulation to depict heartwarming scenes without the use of gratuitous vehemence. It works. Video games do this, but give the player the unhealthy power to play a part in the story. This sum total of everything artistic, made interactive, accomplishes nothing. Violence can no longer be a plot device when the user is at the helm of the controls, for it becomes too real. A video game cannot analyze, satirize, nor can it make essayistic claims about the real world. Why? Because they can cause aggression, and aggression is not part of our society as Americans. We can't support ideas and fundamentals that engender emotion or irritation, even for the sake of art. Thought that free and that dangerous would not be good for America, and it hasn't helped any cause in this country throughout its wondrous life. We cannot let any deviation from our righteous path sweep the nation in any format. It would not be American. Imagine living in a world where the news outlets and politicians were honest about the past and present of societal tendencies in America. Imagine living in a world where our representatives took a morsel of responsibility for their depraved actions, rather than spearing the first available way out of accountability. Imagine living in a world where scapegoats were not a viable excuse or a viable distraction. Imagine a world where people were open to the idea of new media telling tales on par with Hollywood. Imagine a world where innovation went unhampered, and new art could be appreciated and loved by the many without being cut off at the knees. That does sound rather dreadful, now doesn't it?